Caroline Calloway. She is an Instagram influencer, an inventor, a vegan plus salmon plus special occasions, an artist whose paintings are very sophisticated and definitely not copied. Also, she very diligently finishes her things on time by setting deadlines. But the reason for her popularity is perhaps for some other reasons. Let's dive into it. Caroline always dreamt of writing about her life, to be famous, and for the same reason, she even changed her name from Caroline Calloway Gatchell to Caroline Gatchell Calloway because
Caroline will look better on book covers someday.
She got this opportunity after she joined Instagram in 2012. Though she initially documented her travel stories using #AdventureGrams, her account took off after she left New York University and started over at Cambridge University. Through her photos, she depicted a fairy tale life of Harry Potter-like castles, Jane Austen-like balls of the university, and her boyfriend. Her Instagram account was more like a memoir. But this portrayal of fantasy life at Cambridge was perhaps not very accurate. As a student from the university said,
Caroline's pictures tend to amplify the ridiculousness of Cambridge with its long-held traditions. Her pictures are mainly for outsiders.
Even the Tumblr page, Ask a Cambridge Student, jumped onto this discussion.
Cambridge is not all formals, balls and beautiful architecture, it's hard work, stress, cheesy club nights, bops, casually hanging out in the bar in friends, sliding into 9 a.m. late etc.
Despite that, her photos with lengthy intimate captions attracted followers who were living their life through her stories. A bigger opportunity knocked at her door in 2015 when Flatiron Books offered her a book deal for $500,000. Literary agent Bert Levell, whose client list includes Donald Trump and Glozell Green, signed on to represent her. The book was to be a memoir, dubbed, and we were like. People were hyped. Who wouldn't want to read an IRL fairy tale? Time passed by and she missed deadlines one after another. Ultimately, the book never materialized. Because of failing to deliver on her contract since the past 2 years, her publisher ordered her to pay back her advance. But by that point, she had spent all the advance money she had received. She said,
I think Flatiron Books understands that a 25-year-old doesn't have $125,000 lying around and that in order to pay them back I'll have to sell my book again.
She did this because she was no longer interested in writing the book because according to her the book was too sexist and too focused on boys.
I dropped the ball when I sold publishers a sexist proposal for a book I'll never write.
Later she began selling the chapters of her book proposal with personal annotations. The first 7 chapters sold for £5 each on Etsy. The following year, Caroline went MIA. She mostly posted on Instagram stories rather than the main feed and sold merch with Calloway House Cambridge crest, designed to look like the houses of Cambridge University, through the site Rowing Blazers. Also, in a series of now deleted Instagram posts, she declared she was now open to sponsored content. She said,
I'm charging $2,500 for an Instagram post and $500 for a mention in my story. My prices will only go up from here.
She doubled her prices 2 days later and also announced,
I'll attend your event and post about it for $7,000 to $10,000, unless your event is a fancy ball in Europe, in which case I'll come for free.
In December 2018, Caroline launched an international creativity workshop tour for her fans, in which she will teach things like creativity, building an Instagram brand, and architecturing a better life. For $165, she promised coffee or tea with oatmeal, a personalized journal to take notes during the class and to take home as a souvenir, vegan lunch, care packages which would include handwritten letters from Caroline, mini gardens in mason jars, exclusively designed tote bags, and crystals. But wait, there is more. Attendees will get fresh orchid crowns and her secret to those flower crowns. The tour would visit 10 US cities before moving to Europe, and each workshop would be 4 hours long, although Caroline will be present for only 3 of those 4 hours because
I don't want to steal the focus. I want you guys to get to know each other and most importantly get caffeinated together.
Caroline began planning this trip 1 month before it was supposed to start. This proved tricky for Eventbrite's refund policy, which offers refund up to 30 days before the event. She even tried to get out of paying photographers and videographers to document her workshop by describing it as a
trade of my creative labor as a teacher for your creative labor as a photographer, videographer.
The photographers wouldn't even get the care packages or orchid crowns because
OMFG, those supplies are expensive.
She eventually relented on this decision and agreed to fully compensate whoever she hired, a decision she declared as
part of being both a good human and a good businesswoman.
Finally, the preparation started. Caroline ordered 1,200 mason jars for the care packages.
I have 1,200 mason jars arriving to my apartment next week because one of the things I want to give everyone in their care packages is a portable DIY wildflower garden to take home. So inventive and playful and sweet. I know. We'll talk it that later.
When they got delivered, she finally realized the terrible blunder she had made.
OMFG, the truck with the 1,200 mason jars just pulled up. It is enormous. Please, dear God, say my package is actually very tiny and not. No, I have made a terrible error.
She started lamenting on how much everything was costing, since she didn't seem to calculate how much this tour would cost before mounting it, and then announced that
even though the tour tickets are $165 each, they honestly should have been more expensive because the stuff I got you is really nice and I'm working every hour of the day. I am never doing an event for this cheap again.
On the day of the first workshop in New York City, Caroline complained via Instagram stories about how hard it was to cook salad for the people coming and suggested that future events would involve people bringing their own lunch. She then added,
if you are coming to this event for the salad and expecting a corporate level of event planning, I will refund you. I'm just one human being learning and trying her best, and if you haven't understood that by now, where have you been?
While Caroline and many of her attendees claimed that the event went well, not everyone was happy. As one attendee said that, out of all the things promised, they only received a notebook, tea and coffee without the root held oat milk, which was in fact the sponsor for the event. Rather than teaching, Caroline spent most of the time retelling stories about her life that she had already covered extensively on her Instagram page. The lunch was a small plate of boxed kale and spinach from Whole Foods, topped with hummus and cold and soggy eggplant, all doused in overly salted dressing. At one point, she even offered a ladle full of hummus to her guests. I guess we all saw that coming. The much hyped orchid crowns never appeared, just a single orchid to put in her hair, which was reused on every single attendee.
That's so cute.
But hear me out, she actually kept her promise of sharing her secret to making flower crowns out of orchids. She said,
the secret
to flower crowns
is nothing.
No kidding, she literally said that. Another guest said,
I went to her workshop and was highly disappointed. No notes, no flower crowns, only about 1.5 hours max of actual teaching, if you can even call it that. Icing on the cake? Her staff are 20-year-old college girls with no event planning logistics experience that are just huge fans of her.
One fan even wrote an open letter to Caroline about their disappointment in her lack of organization and seeming exploitation of her fans. Then she got a refund and then was quickly blocked by Caroline. When the reality of the infeasibility of the poorly planned event hit her, Caroline claimed that the Brooklyn location was so perfect that she wanted to offer Boston and Philly workshop attendees the chance to come to New York instead. She then said,
OMFG guys, I'm not going to lie, I kind of agree with you. Maybe I should just do all of the dates in New York.
Soon fans began to plead with Caroline not to cancel, but she still went ahead with it and cancelled 4 cities. But worry not, my child, because
European and London dates will drop so soon.
This fiasco gained public attention when reporter Kelly Donaldson created a Twitter thread comparing Caroline's tour to the infamous Fyre festival. On discovering this thread, Caroline ended up cancelling the rest of the tour and refunded everyone. Kaylee later published this as an article. Following this, Caroline briefly offered t-shirts for sale on Threadless, which bore the caption, "Stop hate following me, Kaylee." Threadless suspended the sale of these t-shirts for violating their targeted harassment policy, about which Caroline lied to Refinery 29 that it was she who pulled the t-shirts.
Damn, what should I do now? Get a job or sell copied paintings? Of course not a job, because OMG, getting a job is so old school.
Remember the paintings I mentioned in the beginning of the video? Caroline started selling those, starting at a low price of $40, skyrocketing to $300. I mean, who'd buy these? These are knockoff versions of the paintings of the famous artist Henri Matisse. In August 2019, Caroline held a second creativity workshop titled The Scam in New York.
Saturday, August 3rd near the West Village. I am hosting my first event since I went viral. It is the exact same fucking event as before, but with a different name.
Although the press was not invited to the event, a reporter from Vice purchased a ticket, attended the event under a false name, and published an article about her experience. According to her, the event turned out to be just a networking event. In response to the criticism, Caroline offered caps for sale with the caption, "Self-obsessed mess." In September of 2019, Natalie Beach, a former best friend of Caroline, reached out to inform her about an article she was writing for the Cut. Instantly, Caroline dropped a post announcing the imminent release of the article.
I don't know when this essay will go live, but it will be different than the articles that called me a scammer for clickbait.
And said that all the consequences suffered by Natalie were because of Caroline's past addiction. After that, she was very patiently waiting for the release. Or maybe not.
Natalie is the most reliable narrator. She is the funniest funny person. Her essay will be a goddamn dramatic masterpiece. For 5 years I saved these papers because Natalie was my best friend, and for 2 years I saved them because she wasn't. There was a 10K spike in my story views. A 50K spike in visitors to my Instagram page. That only happens when a new article comes out about me, or someone important tweets about me, or someone unimportant tweets something about me that gains viral momentum. My thoughts keep returning to her email. I don't begrudge Natalie for a second for publishing this story. Now I just feel impatient. I don't like not knowing and still anticipating what this article will say. What the f is taking so long? Natalie told me on Wednesday the article was going to published. Today is Saturday. I keep running through the options of why the cut still hasn't dropped it. I am relieved that Natalie broke the trust between us so that I didn't have to make that choice someday. I just got off the phone with a fact-checker from New York Magazine. She said that the article will come out today or tomorrow.
A few days later, the article was released.
It's live.
The article was titled, "I Was Caroline Calloway." In it, Natalie describes Caroline's insincerity towards their friendship and how she had to keep her shadow out of the frames of Caroline's public image. Natalie discloses that she had ghostwritten a number of the captions credited to Caroline and that she had closely collaborated with her to produce a subsequent book proposal. Natalie was taken in by the glamorous lifestyle Caroline seemed to lead. In order to remain closer to her, Natalie began editing her Instagram posts for her. According to Natalie, when Caroline got her book deal, it was largely off of Beach's writing. The plan was that she would ghostwrite her memoir in exchange for 35% of the $375,000 book deal. In addition to this, Natalie also reveals that Caroline's giant Instagram following wasn't the result of organic word of mouth. She did it by buying followers so that she could prove that she had the numbers needed to get a book deal. Following the release, Caroline posted her response on Instagram, linked it in her bio, and also wrote a series of blog entries titled "I am Caroline Calloway" on her personal website. Around the same time the article was released, Caroline's dad died.
My dad died, but first let me take a selfie.
In January 2020, Caroline announced that she is writing 2 books.
Oh shit, here we go again.
The first book titled Scammer, which would be printed on demand.
It's finally here. 7 years of writing for you, and this is the first time you can hold my words. Ever.
The second book, And We Were Like, would document her time at Cambridge University, which will be released in winter of this year.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
This is the same book she had planned to write for Flatiron Books before the book was eventually cancelled. The book Scammer was supposed to be shipped in spring of 2020. But in March, Caroline announced that the
manuscript is copy edited and ready to go.
But that her printing company was shutting down due to the pandemic, and hence there were some delays. Also, because of the delay in the production, she would instead be combining her blog I Am Caroline Calloway with her manuscript for Scammer instead, allowing her to expand the essay into 3 parts. On August 7th, Caroline posted an update to her website about the book.
The book is now estimated to ship by August 31st.
August 31st came and went with no announcement or acknowledgement of her book. On September 5th, Caroline posted a video on YouTube explaining her mother's battle with cancer and updated her fans with the new shipping date for her book. She explains,
September 17th, Scammer ships and my mom's surgery.
When the date arrived, Caroline, is the book ready yet?
You gotta wait at least 2-3 weeks, bro. Sorry. Sheesh.
On September 19th, she shared a screenshot on Instagram of an email she sent to her team with the subject line,
copy edited.
Presumably about her book, but it is not specified. It reads,
I'm sorry, but I can't do any work today. Today is cancelled. See you tomorrow.
This is despite her saying in March that the manuscript for Scammer is copy edited and ready to go. She even announced that on purchase of 2 copies of Scammer, one will also get a Typos Are My Brand hats. These hats were not supposed to be for sale, but later it was put on sale on her website. I mean, why rectify the typos when you can just make a hat based on it? Am I right? Also in April 2020, Caroline created an OnlyFans account. An act, if you will.
Can I do something that I think would be really funny? Ask me a question that's one sentence long.
How's your OnlyFans doing?
My OnlyFans is doing great.
I hope you guys are ready to stop laughing.
Caroline has stated in interviews that her intention to enter the adult entertainment industry has been planned by Playboy, and the magazine had commissioned a photo shoot of her as a naughty schoolgirl in a gothic library. But
that's not exactly true.
When asked, the magazine stated,
Playboy does not have and did not have any photo shoot planned with Caroline Calloway.
She posted her projected income from OnlyFans on her Twitter account in May of 2020.
Currently looking at a $223,800 annual salary from OnlyFans.
This led to criticism about her failure to recognize difficulties faced by sex workers, as well as her attempts to distance herself from sex work.
I am a genuine fan of Caroline Calloway, but imagine engaging with sex work essentially for the clout and then bragging about your six-figure salary in the midst of a pandemic that has sent and will send more full-time, non-influencer sex workers into profound poverty.
She stated that she is the only one who dresses up on OnlyFans as characters from literature, and she is the only person on OnlyFans with a degree from Cambridge. She also thinks that
my price point of $49.99 does not compete with other sex workers. For someone offering emotionally poignant, softcore cerebral porn, I'm basically unchallenged.
In late April, Caroline tweeted an image of a cartoon. In it, a man with a hooked nose is surrounded by bags of money and is being carried on the backs of two disabled workers. She captioned it,
#things rich people buy Natalie's talent.
A subtle mock at beach. Almost immediately, people commented on the illustration anti-Semitic overtones, leading Caroline to apologize.
Hey Caroline, give us the inspiration behind the anti-Semitic photo you tweeted and then deleted. Inquiring minds want to know.
Honestly, the background was turquoise. I was like, oh, a cartoon vilifying the rich with a turquoise background. What are the chances? I should tweet this. My privilege kept me from seeing the anti-Semitic undertones in this cartoon, and I take full responsibility for that. I'm always learning and unlearning, but I really when I reposted this just because of a turquoise background. I sincerely apologize if I caused you harm. I apologize because I caused you harm.
The same week she posted,
subscribe to my OnlyFans for the articles and comment below which literary heroine you think I should dress up as next.
Someone suggested,
Anne Frank.
Caroline liked the comment and posted a screenshot on her Insta stories. This implication further attracted criticism. Maybe she did this because
Caroline Calloway thinks Anne Frank survived the Holocaust and self-published her own memoir.
Since the pandemic is going on, why not be #relatable?
So, she posted an image of a Japanese shunga which depicted a woman having coitus with a bat. Caroline captioned the image,
the first human case of the corona outbreak, but make it porn.
Attracting criticism for engaging in the promotion of stereotypes about Asian cultures, particularly in the context of heightened racism and xenophobia during the pandemic. There is a new update about the book. Apparently, she was stressed about the elections, and now
I am finally moving through scammer clear heatedly and quickly.
Shout out to this little r/smallbeansnark. In this video, I have avoided the parts which includes the privacy of some people and also the explicit parts because apparently YouTube is only for 9-year-olds. You should definitely check them out because they have documented every bit about Caroline and also for more updates.